Greetings of peace and paradise, family. Welcome to another for We Soar Above Roundtable Talk. Tonight we're gonna, you said, be completely impetuous, for lack of another word. Real things happen, and so we have to be able to, as you said, react or be prepared to face, things that we come in contact with. So I'm gonna ask Brother Aziz to take it from here. Tell us, you know, what happened with him today, and that we're so happy that we serve a creator who, helps us to get it right, even though we might not get it right the first time.
Yeah, definitely, Sister Grace. Thank you. It's very important when they say that life and time is precious. That is a very true statement. Unfortunately, today, we were able to survive an accident. My wife and our 17-month-old son. We survived the accident this afternoon, and it just shows you when things happen like that. It shows you how, and most times how unprepared you are. At times it will expose how unprepared you are or how prepared you are. And tests and trials of how the creator kind of uses to wake you up. Real talk, in the heart of the trial, the greater the test and the greater the blessing that will come when you overcome and you pass that trial. So that's the beauty of the reason why we're having our conversation today, is to show you that we have those tools to help you be prepared. And if you don't use them, then you have to unfortunately suffer the consequences of your choice and your actions. So you have to have those 5 pillars of balance, which is healthy relationship with your mind, your body, your finances, your family, your community. All of those things you must have in order to stand tall and stand strong and stand firm in your life. And that is a real world straight talk. Raise your hand if you agree with what I'm talking about. And we're fortunate to be able to have these tools accessible that can help us, one, recover, because at times when you're in an accident or you have some kind of trauma, you're still in shock. So you have to be able to treat that. So we have Dead Detox Plus, we have Restore, we have B Plus, I have THC free CBD. I have my co-host here. He definitely is bearing witness to that.
Indeed. And I can kind of just jump in because I know you have him and you are my hubby, and that is our son. And it took us over 6 years to get him. And I could see your face after you navigated us successfully based on your training. Because most people, when a tire blows out, they typically are going to end up flipping over in the same situation, going at the speed that we were going. And instead, we ended up hitting a tree, kept going. Everybody still was okay because you kept that car on the ground. Had it flipped over, oh my goodness, to be able to even jump back up and get back to life after taking, a breather, securing things that needed to be secured. I think it speaks to the testimony of having a lifestyle rooted in balance, because I think it's the balance that allowed us to come together and get what we needed to get done, make sure that everything was done, and then able to keep doing what we do to support our community. Because balance for us is a healthy relationship with our mind, our body, our family, our finances, and our community. You miss any one of them, you're missing out. And so it took us over 6 years to get that healthy bundle of joy that we have. And I know that you in no way we're going to let that come to an end today. But it's easy, just driving, and people's lives are changed forever. So many people, they end up in an accident and their life has changed forever. And the jobs that we run for, I hate to tell people, if they don't already know, they're not coming to take care of us. So your work trading time for dollars, and what you get is not equal to the time that you're giving, which is invaluable. So I shared this with a heart to heart space from my family to your families, because we see the transformation in our circle. We see the change in people recognizing that it's the love of money that's the root of all evil, but money itself is a tool. And it's a tool that is used based on who the person is, how their values are in different ways. For us, we want to be extremely philanthropic. So when you get a chance to look at the top of the compensation plan, that's $220,000 a month. But why do we even care about doing anything with this? It's because we ended up getting a wholesale account when I was at what could have been death's door. So we've had a lot of these experiences in the last couple of years. And I ended up having gestational hypertension, AKA preeclampsia, gestational diabetes. So after giving birth, typically your body rebounds. But because I had been on bed rest for over 31 weeks, my sugar skyrocketed to the 5 and 600s. I had never seen numbers out of the twos. So 5s and 6s. So we know that those are coma numbers. So the fact that I was still awake, the fact that I was still breastfeeding, the fact that even as bad as it was, I was going to bed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was actually up for a whole 12 hours. That's hugely impactful. But what we found is when we simply had my husband's wisdom to launch the wholesale account because of the micronized clinic, because of the micronized clineptilite zeolite, we got a chance to finally have something that was safe enough for my baby to take, safe enough for my breast milk to be cleaned out, because you do not want to take something that is throwing more gook into your child while you're breastfeeding, especially not as sacred as our journey has been to get here. Fast forward, we took Daily Detox Plus, Restore V Plus. My sugars dropped 150 points over the course of the weekend. I was just like, whoa. I actually had so much energy that following day, I actually was running around, and I had a C-section scar that had me at way into 10 months postpartum, still hurting, right? So when we finally got the THC-free CBD added into the mix, I all of a sudden didn't have pain anymore in locations that I had hurt every day, all day for the entire time up to that point. Then we ended up ultimately adding another piece into the mix of our regimen, and that was with M+. And then with the M+, I started watching my body detox fat away. So we had so many other people, though, which is what got us here to this space today, because just in sharing with them what we saw, and just in sharing with them what we saw as the most powerful tool, the most powerful vehicle we had seen that literally was paying 49 to 51% back into the field, we for the first time saw a company where the wellness lifestyles that we want people to embrace were within their financial reach. And that for us is huge, because you can talk all day about changing lives, right? But if they can't afford it, it doesn't really matter what it is. If you can't afford the wellness habit, it does not become a sustainable practice, and people don't need another bill. So when we started looking at people doing basic things with discipline and consistency and earning $12,000 in 30 days, earning $5,000 in the first 3 days, it was obvious that we had walked into a sea of miracles. And we had people who ended up getting diagnosed with C19 who had just gotten a wholesale account because it's a tax write-off, and they knew that they had relatives that had different things going on, and they were working to take care of them. But then they ended up realizing when they got C19 positive, when they took that Daily Detox Plus, that Restore, that V Plus, and now that M Plus, boom, they didn't have any more symptoms 24 to 72 hours. And we don't diagnose, we don't treat anything. That's why I'm so glad that I didn't end up going to medical school and going down that lane, because my experience with the Western medical model of care has not been so amazing. So I've come to find that the way our bodies are designed, man, the creator has made everything we need in the earth. And the more we learn, we ended up becoming farmers, because I knew that if I wanted to keep myself together, right, we knew we were preparing for these times that were coming based on scripture. And you just look at the lack of vitalized nutrition, it wasn't rocket science. So what we did in transforming our lives, though, became a space of it wasn't sustainable, because you love so many other people, you're striving. Like today, we were going to take free vegetables to families, and we've done all these things to help everybody else, but who's coming to replace the vehicle that just got totaled? So it's vital that we have a healthy relationship with our finances, whereby you have a year's worth of bills in an emergency fund for at least a year, right? But if you could just think about it, I have a 17-month-old. I was in bed for 31 weeks, then in bed 2 months after. A lot of our reservoir got wiped out. How many people even could have lasted as long as we did? So just think about it and just look in your own situation. You don't have to answer the question. How many months could you keep your standard of living? How many months will you have food, clothes, and shelter, right? And most people are only a couple of paychecks away from being without reserves. So an extra $500 to $1,000 a month for many people literally transforms their entire life. But you got people like me who really want to be really philanthropic. And if you look at the top of that compensation plan, it's $220,000 a month. It's over $2 million, family. What can we do if several of us would just pool our resources and build this in a way to empower our communities? Because we have people who had high sugars like I did. And guess what? I'm watching a sea of miracles with their sugars dropping down. And I'm still jealous, because many of their sugars dropped down faster than mine. A guy who went from 600 to 100 or something overnight. It was like, really? And he's still drinking sodas, y'all. But it's the journey, right? So what's amazing, you take that Daily Detox Plus, you take that Restore, you take that B Plus, you take that M Plus, you utilize the THC-free CBD internally. And if you have any pain or inflammation issues internally, Sister Grace, can you speak to the endocannabinoid system and why I keep talking about this THC-free CBD?
Sure. The endocannabinoid system is that system within your body. It's cells and hormones that help to keep regulate mind and body and keep them in that synergistic balance. And basically what the THC-free CBD products we have do is they put those chemicals in that we need, that helps us. It's just minute amounts, but the results in our body is just extraordinary. And as you said, you just went through a trauma. So you need that to, for your, to get yourself, your cells back to that balance. Like, okay, it's no longer fight or flight. Let's bring it down a notch, bring it down. And, as you said, because usually in those moments, you're not able to think. But when you have that balance, it helps you, as you said, in those moments to think, reason, and be able to make logical decisions that's for the best of yourself, your family.
And it's hugely impactful. Just inflammation alone. I have a history with these issues of fibromyalgia, autoimmune, chronic fatigue, immune deficiency syndrome, everything that says they don't really know what's wrong. And so when you're in that autoimmune world, something like today, right? My body's been jarred. I typically would have just been walking around like a stiff, I can't think of the guy from The Wiz, but the man that everyone knew had to get oil.
Is it the
Tin Man?
Tin Man, right?
Right. And so I am a Tin Man kind of girl, right? But knowing that I have the tools that will help my body to do what it needs to do, I'm looking forward to the dream. I don't know how to nicely say that, but I know the first time I took it, I was just like, oh my goodness, this is the best sleep ever. And I have all kinds of sleep tools that you don't necessarily put in your mouth, right? Because I've always been wanting to stay away from those, but it's not addictive. I only take it when I need it. So if I know I'm going to stay up all night for some crazy reason, which I never really do, but those few times I take it. And
And
I've
then,
got the best sleep after.
and then the most amazing thing about it, it helps your body to regulate and get back into that proper sleep cycle. So you go to sleep when it's night and not some other in the middle of the day.
Which is huge, especially for, I think every mama, when they first have a baby, should all have it. I think these things are just so important for everybody to have as their wellness preparedness kits. And I've been so happy when people call me and they say, hey, I'm C19 positive. I'm like, hey, just up your daily detox plus to every hour on the hour. Make sure you're taking your restore at least twice a day. It'll let you know, because it's your major and trace minerals. You're gonna make sure you take that B plus. Me, when I've had days when I knew I was exposed to stuff, I must admit I took a few bottles throughout the day. And when I tell you whatever it was went away, it's always gone away. And then to have the M plus, which is a moringa base, it's the whole plant family.
Right.
So I'm not having to wonder, right, how many people I'm gonna have dying. And we're at a time right now where it's how many people. And I personally have a body count of 0 during this entire time, because we've been in this work of trying to make sure that people knew. And some people, they may not follow all of the instructions. They may not, do their dosing just right. But thank the Lord, whatever bit of it they do, it helps their bodies to stay up out of the hospital
Sure.
for pretty much everybody except for one person, right? And that's huge. And the ones who did go in the hospital, they got out
Right.
to go back home. And that's huge.
And then also important, as you said, is the offering of a win-win situation where you have the products that's giving you that health and wealth, but then you also have an opportunity not to be worrying about, okay, where is my next month's dose of the products gonna come from? You have a way by sharing the wealth of your knowledge and the wealth of your testimony or experience with others, so that you can continue on your journey and knowing that, it's win-win. I'm gonna be here, my neighbor's gonna be here, the person down the road is gonna be here.
Indeed. So please get back with the person that shared this with you. They shared it with you because they love for you the best that they love for themselves.